Welcome to another edition of Local Music Somewhere. I'm your host, Greazy Keyz. Got a very special guest in the studio today, my man Fred Lee Heintz IV of Late Night Special. Welcome to the studio, Fred.
What's up, man?
Good to see you.
Having me.
Thanks for coming out. So, Fred, you are just one of my most favorite musicians, singer-songwriters in the area. So grateful to have you come in and share your story with us and some of your music with us. So give us a little bit of your background, like what inspires you as a singer-songwriter? What has brought you into the music world?
Man, first of all, thank you, because I love you, man. You're the people's people, man. You're that guy that everybody knows, and dude, you always do right by everybody. So I love being on here, and especially having you as the host. But man, what drug me into all of this was years ago. I guess I started late. You know, I always wanted to play music as a kid. I just never thought I had it. And my parents were always like, "We'll get you music lessons," but I was like, "I want guitar lessons." And they're like, "No guitar. You can learn that on your own. Just maybe piano, saxophone." I was like, "Nah, forget that. I want the guitar." Yeah, and so basically, you know, getting into it. You know, it took me a long time, man. It took me until I was 21, and I always had loved music, and had a friend who, him and his brother was about 3 years older than him. They played music together, Dylan Burleson and Dallas Burleson, and they would play together. It was just so inspiring at the time. You know, we were all smoking some weed, hanging out, drinking, doing the thing that kids do. And I would just hang out and watch them play. I thought it was amazing. Well, one night, the older brother and his friends were going to the club. The younger brother wasn't old enough. He's like, "Let's hang back, and I'll teach you a couple guitar chords, and we'll drink some beers." I'm like, "Cool, let's do it," you know. And I didn't think I could do it, but he showed me a guitar chord the next day. I go back to my house where we had a guitar, like an old Sigma acoustic guitar that had been laying around. It had been pissed on by little kids. It had been beat on the ground. And
Funky
yeah. And so I took it to them. They took it to the guy down in Concord, got it fixed up, got it set up. They're like, "He says it's a nice guitar, man." And then from there on out, I just started carrying this thing with me, because I learned, like, I don't know, it was like a G chord probably. And I was like, man, I can do one chord. I can do them all. And from there, I never left my guitar. You know, it was always with me. And my father was a musician, but he stopped playing when we were, I had to have been a baby. He had a band called Fredenstein. His album was called The Young Monster, and it was like a late 80s, like indie rock. It's kind of what it was like. Really cool songs and stuff. But I never got to experience that, like playing with my dad and that experience of music, and just had like a bunch of good friends. I met a guy in 2000. Let's see. In 2013, me and a guy, Bradley Cannon, from my high school, we'd known each other forever. We met back up after high school and started playing music together. And we'd go out and play the open mics here in Charlotte, which were few and far between at the time, back in 2012, 2013. And I had just started writing some songs in that time period, because I got in some trouble and got some street cred on my name, you know. And basically, I think I lost my job at the time. I broke my wrist.
Ouch.
And I was down. I was out of work for like a month, and I was hurt, but I could still strum the guitar. And I wrote these songs, man, out of nowhere. That was where like the original music had started coming out, and basically like fell into songwriting then. And I just spilled out about 8 songs. A couple years later, decided to record them with Bradley. We met a guy from our hometown. We were going to record an album, and through that, we met the original members of Late Night Special, which was Derek Furr, Robert Shoemaker, Bradley Cannon, and myself.
Right on.
And we recorded our first album and put it out in 2015, and that kind of pushed me all into it. It was at, you know, probably not until 2016 or 17 when I was like, okay, I'm going to do this full time. You know, I'm going to do music full time. At the time, I had been a hairdresser. My dad's like a second generation hairdresser. I went to hair school and did that for about 3 years. I then bought a food truck and ran that for about 5 years. And like I said, I always loved working for myself, especially after I got in trouble. At the time in 2011, and I don't really care. It was just weed trouble, and I had gotten a felony for a weed charge back then, and I was like, man, I got this felony on my back. No corporate America is going to hire me, so let me just keep pushing down my entrepreneur avenue. I work for myself. I've always enjoyed that, and I remember asking my mom, like, hey, what if I did music? And she's like, honey, don't quit your day job.
Don't quit your day job. Whoa, what day job, Mom?
Yeah, right, Mom. Yeah, right. But I always give her hell now for that. But moving forward, like it just kind of, everything fell into place. In 2016 or 17, I got a call to go to Myrtle Beach and play like a weekend run of solo shows, and I went and did it. He was like, you ever played solo shows before? And I hadn't. I'd always played with Bradley, and I went down for a weekend and was like, whoa, he can make this kind of money just doing music. And I just was like, okay, I'm going to start doing this. And that's where I kind of music started to pull with the food truck business. The food truck thing was going great, but music was just calling me to come home, and so that's what I did. And I kind of just took it out on the ledge there and sold the food truck probably in 2017 and just went full-time music and kind of never looked back.
I love that. A true entrepreneurial spirit in you, Fred, and I've seen that come through knowing you over the years, just through your music alone. But just to hear some of that backstory is just amazing with the food truck and being a hairdresser. That's really cool stuff. So whenever you first started writing songs, what were some of your first inspirations? Obviously, your father, in a sense, and your friends. But when you first started to want to sit down and write your own song, what were some of the subjects or some of your inspirations that you had through that?
Definitely, love, heartbreak, girls, stuff like that. That's I feel like that's on everybody's list. You can always write a love song or a heartbreak song, but then, reminiscing of my home life. I remember one of the first songs I wrote was this song called "Back Home," and I honestly, we wrote it, recorded it. I played it a couple times with the band before it was ever recorded, but after we released the album, I don't think we played the songs on the album for probably 4 or 5 years. Wow. Like, we played them at the album release and then didn't play them again. And I kind of had just felt like any band, like, oh, we're moving on, we're writing better stuff, cooler stuff, and but revisiting those songs, Back Home was like one in the top 5 first songs I wrote. And I remember a lot of the songs that I wrote, I just sat down, I'd have a chord progression, and I would kind of just start freestyling and the lyrics would just come out. So like that song Back Home, like none of it really meant too much to me when I was singing it. Like I wasn't thinking like, oh, this is going to be about this or this is making me feel. I was just pouring out what was in my heart, and listening back to it, it is like reminiscing of like, how awesome my upbringing was, where I lived, like where I learned everything. Being with my family. My father recently passed away a couple years ago, and like just listening to the songs like that, where I think there's a line in there. It's your mom was in the kitchen, your dad was telling jokes, you didn't know what you were missing, you didn't know. And it's like at the time I had no clue, but now it's crazy. Yeah, it comes full circle.
10 years or 25 years, and you have a moment to actually stop and turn around and look back and see how much your life has changed, how your music's changed, and how, songs you've written, how they take on different meanings, right?
Exactly.
Very cool.
Exactly. And I mean, other than that, a lot of the music that I tried to write was really, I've always been driven by like motivational speaking and motivational quotes and stuff, like things that inspire people to just better themselves and hopefully better the world, one piece at a time, and so like a lot of my music involves that too. There's like a message, not necessarily hidden or exposed, of like, just do the best you can, be the best you can, chase your dreams. I was telling you we're going to be releasing Trip to Mars. Yes. Here before too long, and that song just is all about like chasing your dream. And I think I wrote that almost going on like 8-9 years ago, and just never released it, but the message just always held true of like, follow your dreams and, try to be better, try to tell the truth, try to like be honest with people, and, put yourself out there and do you, because you're the only person that can do it.
That's right. Be you.
Yeah.
So we're talking about your songwriting, and kind of going back over songs. Before we started the podcast, we were talking a little bit about one of your great songs that ended up on the Pat McAfee podcast. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Back in 2020, we had some friends hit us up about, they're like, hey, we listen to the Pat McAfee Show every morning while we work, and they take original music submissions. You should totally submit your music to them. So just a little backstory on the songs that we submitted. There were like 3 songs that we had recorded with the producer in 2016. We had went to Nashville, and we'd done 2 sessions here and 1 session in Nashville with this producer, and we were going out there to record an album. Well, we go into the studio, and the engineer that was in the studio kind of took over the role of being the producer. And the producer was like, listen, before things get heated, I'm going to step out. I'm going back to the cabin we all rented. I'm going to set up the home studio. You guys finish the album here. When you get home tonight, we're going to make a song. So we get home that night. We make a song called Disco. And about a week or 2 later, we're back in Charlotte, and we get together. And these were like 6 to 10 hour sessions. We did these songs, and we get together back in Charlotte, and we write this song called "Don't Leave Me Lonely," just in a little studio in South End. And I never really thought much of it. I was like, well, this is cool, co-write. This seems a little too poppy for late night special. We're more like indie roots. This is not us, but it was cool doing it. And the song just sat on a hard drive. I think it was like 6 hours of work, and it sat on the hard drive for years until 2019. I was working with a producer in Charleston, and we were going back through these files from the studio session in Nashville, and he was remixing one of the songs, and he stumbled across that "Don't Leave Me Lonely" song, and he was like, what is this, dude? This is incredible.
Like, I forget about that.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's some old stuff with this guy Brandon, don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, dude, no offense, but I can't get you anything that sounds like that. You need to put that out. And I was like, all right, well, we're putting out these songs. Let's add it to the album. I'll just get it out. Will you send it to master and whatnot? And so we did that. And that ended up being one of the 3 songs we sent over to Pat McAfee, just by random. And a couple weeks later, man, my friends sent me these Snapchat stories of Pat like singing along to our song on the show, and I was like, "This is crazy! This is awesome! This is a viral moment that we need!"
Exactly.
So we started sending it out, and it just blew the song up, and it was great. It was we got a lot of love and respect for Pat as a person. Once he started playing our music, that just went even further, and that's been awesome. We've gained a lot of fans from that. As I was telling you guys before the show, there was a little bit of wild stuff, but we got through it.
Sounds like an overall very good experience.
Incredible.
Good thing, and hopefully will lead to more exposure for that. That's, people talk about exposure for musicians, but that's the real exposure you're kind of looking for.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Everybody, America especially, we love sports.
Right.
So like when somebody that's huge in the sports field gets a hold and blast you out, that's like, it's big. I grew up playing sports, so it hit home for me. And the fans that are out there streaming the music, spreading the music, coming to the shows, like a lot of them, we're seeing some from that wave of people, and we get right along because it's just kind of people like we grew up with.
So your band, Late Night Special, you've been around since 2015, 2016. And like you said, you've kind of gone through some personnel changes over the years. And so my impression of that has been really cool because I've seen your band go from everyone from you playing solo to duo to trio to like even as maybe like 6 or 7 piece band at points.
Yeah.
And so it's been really cool to kind of see that grow and not necessarily get better, but change over the years. So what's been your goal for that with the band and where you are now versus where you were then?
It's funny because I would say the main goal is to just always have a band. Always have somebody ready that can go out and play. I tell people I'm addicted to playing because I really in the age we're in, like I would say doing content is equal part to going out and touring and doing shows, but I truly love touring and playing shows. Like it's the best part of it. I do love doing that. So we get out and we do that a good bit. And so I need a band most of the time to be out and go do those shows with me. And over the years, I just always thought I would find like 4 people that we could stick it out for 10, 20, 30 years and make a great career. But like that, as you get older, as life changes, agendas change and everybody has their own version of the dream. And so that seemed to be harder than I ever thought it was. And I kind of finally realized like, hey, dude, you're kind of like beating a dead horse on trying to make the dream only that way, 1, and 2, I don't think that's how it works. And through playing with tons of different musicians and becoming friends with people who are doing it at higher levels, you see that, like, it's just a lot of times, you know, the band becomes interchangeable. You know, there's always a way to make the show happen. And over the years, it has been cool, like you explained. Not necessarily that it's gotten better, but it's evolved and changed. And I know, like you were saying, I mean, we'll do like a 3-piece show. We did this show last year with John Sullivan called Dog Island Jam. Yep. It's the last Saturday of every July out on Lake Norman. And we had to do the trio. And I remember being so nervous about it, but I also remember thinking, dude, your guitar playing has leveled up over the last couple of years. Just, this is your time. And I went out there and, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan'd it with an acoustic guitar, and it was so much fun. So that was fun. And then, like, last year when we did Swanee with a 10-piece band,
10 pieces. Okay.
Yeah, you know, 2 backup singers, horn, you know, 2 guitarists, bass, keys, and percussion, you know, like stuff like that. So it's cool to explore the sound and explore. I do remember when I first started thinking about bringing more members into the band, and I was just thinking, a sax player, this, that, that'll all make us sound better. But once you get them in, you start to realize, now that you have more pieces, everyone has to be real selective on what they're playing. You can't just really jam anymore. Now everybody needs to conserve the space. And so that kind of played a factor into building out bands, and as well as budgets. You know, like not every show calls for 10 people, but the ones that do, it's really cool to put it together. It's really cool to work on the music that way and help everybody play their part, so that everybody can kind of know their part during the show and then enjoy playing the show. Whereas, you know, I'm sure you've been to a show, or I've showed up at a show where you're like, man, I barely know the material, and it's like I'm gonna have to think about it the whole time rather than just being like, I know my part. I'm gonna shine, you know. So
well, and I think that lends itself to, you know, to your songwriting. You know, you have a song that, it can be performed solo, or it can be performed with a 10-piece band. So hats off for, you know, again, just being mindful in that and songwriting and creating music that people can kind of jump in on and make something great out of it. So, way to go.
Appreciate it.
So we got the band. We only got a few more minutes, but I want to try to get in everything and we'll talk about with you with. But you got the band, then you have the festival. Tell us about the Nightlights Festival.
Yeah, so in 2019, at this point I had been doing it since 2016, 2017, full-time playing music. I had realized like something needed to change to make sure doing music could be sustainable, because it is like doing it as a job. It's a hustle. It's around the clock. It's pretty exhausting at times, but it's also fun. So it's you don't really feel the exhaustion firsthand every day. It just kind of sneaks up on you. And so in 2019, I was kind of like, man, you know, like we got to figure out a way to do this more sustainable. And just by whatever stroke of luck, act of God, you know, I got this call, hey, would you want to come down and play solo at this festival in Texas? I was like, sure, that sounds great. You know, $500 and we'll fly you down, we'll get you a hotel. That's a dream, man. Hell yeah, let's do it. So go down and play this festival, and when I get to the airport in Dallas, the owner of the festival picks me up, and we have about an hour ride to the venue. We're kind of chatting, you know, we're getting to know each other. He had his playlist on in the truck, and he was playing all these great songs that I'd kind of had on my playlist. And so there's some Avett Brothers in there, Camp, Scott, Josh Ritter, and they're all playing through. And I'm like, man, I like this playlist. And so we were really hitting it off, talking. And he's like, man, well, I've never heard your music, but I hope you're good. You seem like a cool guy. And I'm like, what is going on here? You know, we show up to the festival, and I'm like, so how many people are supposed to be here tonight? About 16,000. I'm like, cool. Wow. Who's headlining? They're like, you are. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what? Like, he's like, you're. There's only one act tonight, and so I've had to play for about an hour and a half with my acoustic guitar and pedal board, just like I'm going to do today. And I remember I hadn't been nervous in a while. I'd gotten in the routine of playing bars, blah blah blah. Yeah. It wasn't really nerve wracking, and this was nerve wracking. I remember thinking, like, I mean, I'm confident, but do I have what it takes to entertain this many people? Right. And I did. That's the thing. I got up there, I did it, and that night and the next day, they just got flooded with emails asking who I was and who the artist was, want to know more about the artist. And at that point in time, the festival was a lower production than it is now. I remember we talked about this. We were like playing underneath like 2 white lights on a SL 250 stage, you know, just wash lights on you. And now it's like full lights, full stage. Full production. But anyways, after that, they invited me back 2 weeks later. They're like, you want to come do this other event? Absolutely, would love to come do it. Did that. Hey, that was awesome too. Same thing happened. Everybody loved you. Do you want to come on for 2020? Yeah, I would love to do all the 2020 shows. And so that was about 12 shows at the time. And of course, COVID struck, but somehow we still did 5 shows, about 10,000 people each during COVID. They basically painted these circles in these fields, like 6-foot circles that were 6 feet apart, and did about 3,000-4,000 circles for each event.
And so, and obviously with music is a highlight, but then the closer of the night is releasing all these thousands of lamps, lanterns, I guess it is.
And so that's what this is where it all comes full circle on, like, that's when I figured out when I was in Texas what it was. You know, I just was like, you're coming to play this festival. I'm thinking multiple artists, cool. No, it was a Chinese Lantern Festival. So at the end of the night, for the last 5 years, at the end of the night of these shows, we finish our set with our best song, whatever, and then 10,000 people launch these Chinese lanterns in the air. It's like a fireworks show after, it's the finale after your set.
Right.
And so it's been really cool to see. And basically through working with them through 2020, since I had ran Shakedown Music Festival here in Charlotte for many years, a local festival, I knew a lot of festival just like conversation, and I understood how it all kind of worked. And so I kind of started chiming in with them and helping them. And so they ended up bringing me on. I became the MC of the festival. I also became the entertainment director. So I booked myself, of course. Right. And then I book all the opening acts for the year.
Great acts along with you. So wonderful.
It's been awesome to get to share that with, whether it be friends from different regions, or like I've brought some bands from here in Charlotte, brought some of you guys out with us to, play the shows. And it's just super cool experience, man. And
Well, Fred, I hate to say we're running out of time. We're going to take a short break, have a word from our sponsors, and come back and have you play a song. But man, we'd love to have you come back and tell us more about what you got going on and what you got coming up.
Anytime. Fred. Yeah, thank you, sir.
We'll take a short break. Be right back. rBeatz.com, local music somewhere.
Hey, music lovers, prepare to have your mind blown by the freshest beats around. Whether you're a seasoned raver or just someone who loves to feel the rhythm, we've got something special for you. Introducing Only Bangers, Hits Different by rBeatz Radio on Spotify. This isn't just another playlist, it's a carefully curated collection of the hottest tracks that are guaranteed to elevate your mood and get your body moving. Curated by DJ World Beats and friends, Only Bangers is packed with tracks that'll keep you dancing all night long. These are handpicked by some of the best DJs in the world. Imagine the sickest drops, the most insane bass lines, and melodies that'll have you hooked from the first beat. You won't be able to resist the urge to move, to dance, to lose yourself in the music. It's like the soundtrack to the best night of your life, playing on repeat. Each track is a gem, a banger that will make you want to hit replay over and over again. And here's the best part. rBeatz Radio knows what you want. A Spotify playlist for your listening pleasure. No fillers, just thrillers. Imagine having access to the best music anytime, anywhere. So why settle for mediocre when you can have the ultimate listening experience right in your earbuds? Thank you for sharing the love, and thank you rBeatz.com for bringing the heat. With Only Bangers, you're not just listening to music, you're experiencing it. You can also head over to rBeatz.com and rBeatz on all your favorite listening devices and download the free radio app. A 6-pack of 6 genres, carefully curated for you. Whether you want to search for Only Bangers, Hits Different by rBeatz Radio on Spotify, or download the app on all your favorite listening devices. Trust us, your playlists will never be the same again. Hit play, feel the energy, and let the beats take over. Because with Only Bangers, every moment hits different. So what are you waiting for? Dive into the world of Only Bangers and let the music take you on a journey you'll never forget. Catch you on the dance floor, and thank you for sharing.
Calling all independent musicians. Ready to elevate your sound? At rBeatz Radio, we're poised to turn up the volume on your ambition. Submit your tracks today, and here's the reason why. With rBeatz, you're not simply uploading, you're broadcasting your unique resonance to a global audience. Put your hesitations aside. We're offering you the golden opportunity to have your music reviewed and aired on our radio station, absolutely free of charge. You've pondered, perhaps even sampled the others. Now it's time to experiment with the finest. At rBeatz, we're dedicated to you. We're not just a platform, we're your spotlight, and your music merits the stage. Share your social handles And as soon as your music goes live on rBeatz, you'll be the first to know. We're not just spinning tracks, we're cultivating a vibrant community of artists and aficionados who revel in distinctive soundscapes. rBeatz Radio, the stage where your music receives the applause it's worthy of. Submit your music today and transform your sound into a sensation. In essence, our beats your music.
Welcome back to Local Music Somewhere. I'm your host, Greazy Keyz, with my good friend Fred Heintz of Late Night Special in the studio for an exclusive live performance. Fred, what song are you going to play today?
Here we go. This is my song called Don't Go Hatin', and it's something that I'm working on right now in the studio.
Casting out spells underneath Egyptian suns. Don't go hating anyone. Don't go. Stepped out to clear my mind. Deep inside, this is what I find. All the thoughts I need to let slip away. Tripping on the bills, I'm lost. At what price, at what cost? You know I need to hear you say, don't go hating anyone. Don't go casting out spells underneath Egyptian suns. Don't go hating anyone. Don't go. Stepped out to clear my brain, wash away all my pain, and find a place that I know is safe. You're tripping on the bills, you're lost. At what price, at what cost? You know I need to hear you pray. So don't go hating anyone. Don't go casting out spells underneath Egyptian suns. Don't go hating anyone. Don't go. It's a shame they want you to change. Well, it's a shame they want you to change. Well, it's a shame they want you to change. Oh, it's a shame they want you to change. You got love on your brain. Won't you take away all my pain? You got love on your brain. Won't you take away all my pain? So don't go hating anyone. Don't go casting out spells underneath Egyptian suns. Don't go hating anyone. Don't go.
Fantastic song, Fred. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me, you guys. It's been awesome. Yes, sir.
so fast, my friend. It might be a struggle, it could be the end. So we'll keep on searching, both far and wide. There's trouble in the truth, and there's worry in your eyes. Summer nights are over. You know it's getting colder. So won't you grab someone and squeeze them tight? You keep holding on for dear life. For dear life. If the world keeps on healing, there could be a chance. When you're looking for a lover, yeah, you might need a friend. So we keep on searching, both heart and mind. There's some trouble in the truth, but there's love inside your eyes. Summer nights are over. You know it's getting colder. So would you grab someone and squeeze them tight? You keep holding on for dear life. For dear life. You keep holding on. Holding on. But there's a change in the weather. They say life keeps getting better. But there's a change in the weather. They say life keeps getting better. But there's a change in the weather. They say life, oh, life keeps getting better. With a change in the summer nights are over. You know it's getting colder. So won't you grab someone and squeeze them tight? You keep holding on for dear life. Summer nights are over. You know it's getting colder. So won't you grab someone and squeeze them tight? You keep holding on for dear life. For dear life. You keep holding on. Holding on.